This is Link with some more Slay the Spire Downfall. For today, I want to play some more Automaton. Haven't played him in a while, and yeah, I have some things I want to try out. So let's jump into the game and see how things will work out. One thing I want to try out is trying stuff with negative encode effect, especially Null Pointer would be a card I am very interested in trying to use. Maybe removing the encode error on it to make the card actually playable, the function. Or maybe do some other interesting stuff with it. There are quite a few possibilities. I think I want to try and just kind of shy away from the standard Automaton stuff I usually do and just try something new. Bronze Core is now the first function you create. Each combat costs 0 until played instead of costing 1 less. Very powerful buff there, so the boss swap becomes a bit less appealing. 100 souls isn't bad. We do have the option to go to a very early shop and maybe find some of these cards we're looking for. Also, removing 2 cards is always a nice thing on the Automaton as well. Gives you a thinner deck, so you cycle back into your functions and encode cards earlier. So I kind of want to go with either of these two. If I go for the 100 souls, I start right, go to the early shop. If I don't, I probably go towards the middle. And then I want to try fight these 2 elites and go for the late shop instead. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let's get a strike and a defend out there. Do we recall early? We can break the key before our elite fight, so I think I'd rather not. Let's upgrade go-to this time around. Get some extra card draw. $14 damage incoming. I'm just gonna full defend here. A bit worrying here is that we have no more defense left in the deck, so our next turn might be a bit hard. Yeah, a bit hard to avoid taking damage here. Well, we take 7. Not the best thing, but it is okay. Bitshift Blockchain Wild Beam. Bitshift is interesting. Not right now, unless we wanna populate our deck with replicates. Could be kind of interesting, but yeah. But it's something we can build around to some degree, and we can use it for the replicates. We can bit shift back the replicate, play it again, and now we have 2 replicates floating around in the deck. Which means we can more easily generate cheap aggressive functions. Like this. Delayed guard, delayed slice branch. I do want some better defense, and either delayed guard or branch would work well with that. Encode the option not chosen. If we bit shift that back to hand, it will probably be a pretty boring card, and I'm not even sure if that card would have encode on it. Let's go with delay guard here. Okay, Gambling chip. We could still find some souls, but honestly, I'd rather save my HP here. Gambling chip is at the start of each combat, discard any number of cards, then draw that many. We are closing in on a merchant relatively soon, so the 100 souls will be valuable. The removal isn't strictly necessary right now. Let's gain the 100 souls. These guys with artifact. I think I want to set up my replicate stuff pretty early. And then full defend this turn. Next turn we gain 14 block, so it shouldn't be too hard to get a decent defense. The Dazeds are obviously quite annoying. Take one? Yeah, I think so. Well, kind of on a timer because these Dazeds make our deck quite weak if we just let them pile up. We should be able to finish the frontliner next turn, almost certainly. If we draw even a single attack, we will be able to. Not quite true, actually. Well, take another 5. I think this is going pretty well here. Let's make another copy and copy. Use that to finish the backliner. Yeah, that worked out quite well. One defend here, very nice. That's all I needed. And then some damage, please. Good, we should have it here. Single strike is not enough though, but this is Prayer Wheel. Oh, love this so early. Normal enemies drop an additional card reward. Constructor Safeguard Piercing Shot. Constructor Bit Shift is interesting. Because the changes on Constructor last the entire fight. They increase its block by 5. So that could be something. Ladder Opener, I'll gladly take it. Whenever you play 3 skills in a single turn, deal 5 damage to all enemies. I'm gonna dig for the Bit Shift. I'm just gonna finish this function. Doesn't matter if the constructor is at the end there. And there we go. Fine-tuning, iterate, infinite beam. Now these are some options. Do we have anything that's great to fine-tune? Not right now. Infinite beam? Do we just continue on a path to make many small functions? I'm interested. These cards don't really go that well into a deck like that. Fortify. The decks would be nice. For things like Constructor and Delayed Guard, certainly would be nice. But the Fortify itself is very unwieldy, because we really don't want to make our functions too cost. Cut through might work. Having some scry. But I think I'll skip this. We do have a decent amount of defense right now, so we don't need the slime shield either. Sticky shield. Do I want a constructor in there at the start? I think that's fine. Especially if we don't complete that function right away. Let's retain this constructor. Now it is 10 block. And if we play it, it's gonna be 15 block. I do want at least one attack in that function. We gave them 6 strength, so we better finish this fight quickly now. Replicate is better than a minor beam. Yeah, I'll go for the damage. I need to finish that fight next turn. I don't want to be hit while vulnerable. Oh, with this function, luckily that wasn't a problem. Honkley, at the start of your second turn, gain 14 block, very nice. Bronze Orb. No, I don't think this deck really wants Bronze Orb. We can relatively easily play our cards. I don't want the Replicate to get pulled by Bronze Orb. Piercing Shot could be interesting for AoE. But I feel like the Automaton doesn't really require AoE that much. Kinda. I don't want to break this Emerald Key yet. I'm just gonna recall here. Probably break the keys after the Merchant. Unless I find great things to spend my money on. Delayed guard turn 1 will help me defend against the Merchant's second turn quite well. Although we could use Constructor and not finish the function, that will be even better. But we might as well just finish the function. Let's go with go to replicate. Let's dupe the replicate. Draw some cards. I should have played a strike instead of that last function. That was an entirely defensive function. Well, mostly defensive. This one though, this one is nice. One more turn. $66 damage, could be worse. I'm okay with that. Vulnerability seems useful. Does another bit shift though? Not quite sure how to optimize the bit shift usage here, but I'm almost certain we can find a good use for it. Maybe separator? Separator could certainly work. I also like the idea of a barbell. I'm a bit short on upgrades right now, and it would allow us to keep our deck relatively well upgraded if we go with a rather large deck instead. Which might happen. Probably not ideal with the strategy we are currently trying to go for. I'm interested in that separator. There's also Terminator. That one is almost always worth it. You know what? I'm gonna buy the barbell. It's gonna give us at least 2 or 3 upgrades. It's pretty decent. Terminator becoming 0 cost matters. Separator damage kind of matters. Infinite beam matters. I think I'll go with the replicate first though. The extra damage matters if we dupe it a bunch of times. Okay. Let's go to separator. Really want a constructor in there. This is 10 block as opposed to the defense 5. And we should have to kill this town. Colorless potion. Delayed guard burnout refactor. Don't think any of these really fit this deck. Buggy mess class default repulsor. Like the idea of having class default. Maybe get a huge constructor every time. Remove a card, gain a random card with encode. That's kind of like a transmute. I could put that on a strike, that wouldn't be bad. But I kind of want to bottle code and just start every fight with a constructor. That is pretty good, I think. And I think we replicate Terminator here. 30 block, 12 damage. Could certainly be worse. I should have played class default and just put a constructor in every function. Although it's only not necessary here. And it also works with Separator. The damage upgrade on that card is also permanent. There's another bit shift. We kinda need a way to make more use out of bit shift. Fragments got nerfed a bit. They are now deal 5 damage, gain 5 block. But format seems like a good card still. Not sure I want Buggy Mess in this deck. I kinda don't. Onwards to the Rage Watcher. Wrath Watcher, rather. Okay, we can do a setup turn here. We can bit shift and replay the constructor, make it the class default, and then take 2 to the wallop. That seems okay. I kinda wanna end this with Terminator. But I think that would be a bad idea. I'm gonna try. Let's reuse the separator. Now I really want to end this with Terminator. I'm not threatened this turn, so we probably can do it. Unless Terminator isn't in his hand. I'm dedicated though. I will get that Terminator. Perfection. Gain 15 block, deal 18 damage, play this again. The art also looks kind of cool, like this. Yeah. That is a pretty good card. I think we now have a decent amount of block. Kinda. Wait. I pushed her into Wrath. At the end of the round, she enters... Well, she enters it at the end of the round, so it's not that bad. Now she's in Wrath. Clean Fragment seems nice here. This is also 20 blocks, so... Class default with the constructor. Also puts the card into the first spot in the sequence again, so it increases the block by another 5. Let's play the Perfection again. Yeah, once we have these functions built, then it's pretty awesome. 36 damage, that's not gonna be quite enough. Also, she doesn't seem to take any extra damage from Wrath at all. That's weird. Sentient form, early access. Early access got reduced in cost, slightly reduced in power as well, but the cost reduction is very, very relevant. Sentient form? I don't think that's what we need in this deck. Can we use bit shift with early access? Not really that well. What we can do, on the other hand, is use bit shift on separator and constructor and stuff to make a very good full release. I want to try this. The first 3 functions you create each combat cost 0 until played. Our functions are not very expensive, so that's probably not the right way to go for this deck. Idol of Retromation is probably the best idea here, because makeshift battery is hard to deal with. But we need some way to deal with a couple of statuses anyways. But still, I'd rather have just a couple of statuses to deal with instead of a whole fiesta of status. Can we go for some elites? I think we can start out with an elite and then maybe, if it doesn't go too well, go for 2 rests instead. I feel like we generate enough block. What we really need is more strength. So I'm gonna go with that upgrade. And we really want Constructor upgraded. Early Access upgrade makes it innate. That's not bad. I'm gonna go for the Constructor upgrade though. Class default, separator, bit shift. There's already a lot going on there. I'm gonna bit shift the constructor once. Then use class default, play separator, bit shift the separator once. And then finish the function. Gain 21 block, deal 19 damage, deal 7 damage. Yeah, that's pretty good. And this one is already 28 block. That's good damage. We already drew the void, so we don't have to worry about that next turn. Wait, there's another one. Terminator isn't what we need here, we just need the damage. Fine-tuning, Force Shield Invalidate. Force Shield seems like the kind of card that fits into this deck pretty much perfectly. Deprecate could be nice. Don't want to make the deck too thick. So I wonder if Deprecate is actually needed, but we have no sources of weakness, and I think that's a rather good one. Do we go for early access this time around? We could. Sure. Was hoping to draw some of the statuses. I should have played the Deprecate, I think. Not sure though. Beta build is nice defense. Oh, right. That's an expensive strike. I'm gonna go with the Slimed instead. Force field to block, then go with an infinite beam. Wait, the beta is 3 cost? Wasn't it 2 cost when I played it? Maybe I'm remembering things wrong. It's a good time for Separator. And Deprecate. Build Alpha has us defended. I'm gonna go with format here. Maybe we've played too many of our encode cards already for the full release to really be that great. But as a 0 cost, I guess that's not too bad. We just deal 6 damage at the start of our turn. I mean, it's not great, but it is something. Ouch. If we want to build around the full release, we do need a way to make sure we have some strong cards left to encode. Do I want an upgraded delay card? Probably not, no. We don't want too many defensive cards in this deck. I'm taking 2 days. Maybe I should have killed. I should have allocated my damage better, then this wouldn't have been a problem. That just seems like a bad card now. But it defends us here. We need some way to deal with those statuses though. That's the full release. Gain 7 block next turn. Well, it's a bit weird. There we go. That's a way to deal with statuses. If we upgrade it, could help. Sure. Cut through upgraded Terminator Refactor. Refactor isn't bad. It's actually quite good. Another way to deal with statuses. Or do I want another Terminator? Terminator doesn't work particularly well with early access stuff. I'm a bit worried. Find some potions. I will gladly take these. Do I want a weak potion or snack oil over one of those? Probably not. Okay, this fight is gonna be a bit more difficult. I think we have a good solution to it, however. In Bitshift Constructor, Bitshift Constructor class default. So now we'll have a couple of functions which will heavily help us defend ourselves. I think Terminator in this is just overkill, and I'd rather have it in the separator one. I'm gonna go with go-to here. Deal 7 damage, huh? Fine. So much block. I have a weird idea. Give me this construct. Oh. I'm gonna format here. Play the early fragment. 14 damage. I don't want to be weak. It's time to release the constructor. Too bad we can't do it this turn. At the start of your turn, gain 42 block. Twice? Build release. Let's call it Immortality. At the start of your turn, gain 42 block, play this again. Then gain 42 block and play this again. I wonder what's gonna happen. How much block do we gain? Yeah, we just gained 42 block twice. Okay, so we gain 84 block every turn. I think this solves the fight. Now we just need some way to translate that immortality in a kill eventually. I mean, just playing strikes will do that for us, but some enemies might scale up a bit too much for us to rely on just 84 block a turn. Especially Niao can be a problem with that. Another class default. That feels really, really good. I think I'd rather have the damage here. Another elite or a rest site. We would get an extra upgrade from it, right? 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we... 2 upgrade rest site is probably better than an elite for us right now. Bird face turn. Whenever you play a power card, heal 2 HP. We have a couple of power cards and some sustain is very much appreciated. I don't want to break the key right now. I want Mutator to retain and I want early access to be innate. Let's go with Mutator first. Mutator can be our scaling once we are defensive enough. Do I go for damage or for block here? Probably for damage because I don't need to block right now and I will create a function now. So yeah. Ready to try and go for the kill on any of these. There we go. Let's add a fragment to our next 2 functions. Clean release. 5 damage, 5 block, 2 cards. Could be worse. It's also a power, so it heals us. Time to heal up. Bird face down plus Mutator is nice synergy. Like it. Constructor follow through, buggy mess. I think we skip this. Front load separator constructor. If the separator was upgraded, I would gladly take it, but it isn't, so I think I'll skip. Merchant, huh? Well, against this guy we need damage. I want to build a strong separator. Honk lead is nice here because it easily defends us. These bit shifts will be much more usable if they were upgraded. Sadly, they are not right now. I don't want a class default minor beam, but I'm not gonna get anything better here anyways. Don't want to draw back into these bit shifts now. Just trying to do some damage here. Well, I guess it was some damage. Really not very good at dealing with the merchant. Clean code, iterate branch. Iterate does kind of have a place in this deck because we have Mutator. Don't really want to thicken up the deck with stuff like this. It's a feature. If we had any way to generate artifact, I would be into that. I feel like this is just a defense removal. Smaller deck means an easier time to get our invincibility set up together. Looking for class default here, if possible. But it's not strictly necessary. I'm gonna wait one more turn before finishing this function. I want the block next turn. There's a class default. Then we go to getting us some draw. Infinite beams is nice. That helps us get the function together for the beta build more quickly. I'm gonna retain my retain cards and start working on the vulnerabilities later. Because while we do have a lot of block, well, we just have a lot of block. I have one more class default left. I have an idea. No, that won't work. Just want this to retain. We take one here. I shouldn't have played that minor beam. It's okay. Doesn't matter in this fight. 35 block each turn is all we need. This turn though? That's not enough damage. Okay, defend then. And now we are immortal. And I guess we can just heal up the damage we took with the Mutator and Burp Face turn. So everything's fine. Pair! Plus 10 max HP. I don't think we need Repulsor. Mutator is good enough, now that it's upgraded. Pitch shift is nice. Early access, of course. Gonna throw the other 3. I'm considering saving the constructor for our immortality function, but we need some block right now. Constructor early access Terminator is just too good not to do. We don't need to be immortal for this fight. We just need to kill the enemies. Let's format. Class default on the go-to. Gain some block for next turn, deal some AoE. And then we finish off the Chosen, hopefully pretty soon. This will help. This is fine. Full release for card draw. Like, the full release is just not necessary in this fight. Doesn't really help us all that much. But it's our solution for longer fights. Cultist Strike, Overheat, Front Load, I don't think so. Front Load boost Safeguard, nope. Bit Shift, Early Access, we have... We want to focus on dealing damage here, right? Certainly. Maybe I should keep Replicate then. And toss Speed Shift. Class default on an early access. It is a 13 damage card. Definitely set up the infinite beams. I could also try to fill my deck with replicates instead by class defaulting the replicate. Or I could class default the greatness, the constructor, just to have block next turn. But we get that pretty easily by just holding this. Options. This is the full block we want. And we go separator and separator again. Finish them with a fragment. Just get as many aggressive function as possible. I want this function to finish Even if it isn't great. Oh, it's day 0 cost? Wow, that's sick. I should have played it one more time before attacking there. Allocate piercing shot separator. I don't think we want these. We only have 65 gold. Can't get the membership card. I think we don't want any of these. And move on. I don't think we even do early access stuff this fight. Force field is the full defense I want. What else can I do here? Format class default, but then I take damage. Format bit shift, replay the fragment, still take damage. It's... Could play the format just for the energy, but that doesn't really accomplish anything. None of these cards want to be played right now. This is a bit weird. But we don't really have too many options right now. So I'm just gonna try stacking replicates here. We didn't play early access, so we don't have any statuses in the deck actually. Yeah, let's throw the mutator and gain the strength now. This fight isn't gonna go on for too much longer. What happens if I play a class default from another card? I'm not sure. But I think I don't want that here. Instead I want a class default for the same card again. Yeah, now we get 2 of those. It's pretty neat. Nice, nice. That worked well. Vexing Rod, I gladly take that over one of the explosive potions. Invalidate, upgrade a buggy mess. I'll take an upgrade a buggy mess. There's the null pointer I wanted, but we obviously can't use that in the slightest in this deck. It does have synergies with bit shift, but that's about it. I don't mind this hand at all. This is okay. Gonna bit shift the constructor out there. I'm actually gonna drink a colorless potion here. I might need some defense. Chrysalis isn't bad, but I'm gonna go with Discovery instead. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good function. That was a good start in my opinion. Okay. Now we construct our class default as soon as we empty this sequence. Let's go with the deprecate here. Then constructor, class default, separator on one of them. Next turn gains 7 block. Sure, that's good. Do we fill this up? Kinda wanna fill it up with beta build. Is there a reason not to do that? I mean, it's a good card to just have and play now. We don't need beta build ready right away. Imagine if we found Calipos with this deck. That would be wild. I want to draw. I want to draw again. Right? Just give me that extra 2 draw here. I don't want a buggy mess right now. Let's remove the burn. Ooh. We don't want to have 2 class defaults of constructor around at the same time. That wouldn't help us. Now we start building our infinity function, immortality function, right? Just gain strength from all these statuses. No damage incoming this turn. Do I need more than 28 block each turn? I might need more than that. Really want Terminator in there if at all possible. I have a better idea. Let's get that one out of there. Then let's make a couple releases. Then we put that back in. And then we just make a lot of these functions. That way they don't need to be that great. And we can just stack them up instead. I mean, it's an extra energy per turn. We still have the mutator to get rid of the statuses after all. These are very weak, but that doesn't matter. We just gain 28 block and energy and deal 3 damage 4 times at the start of our turn. That was fun. Fun fight. Virus. Transform all cards in hand into minor beam. I definitely don't want that. I have too many retained things. Hyper beam could kind of be a win condition, I guess. I mean, if we're immortal, we don't care about the 5 void on the top of our draw pile. But it's really not all that great. Ship It does count exhausted status cards as well. So that would scale up over the fight. Well, we scale up with Mutator already. Electromagnetic coil. Imagine the options that will provide. But it also makes it a lot harder to get these things actually working, because we would need to play one more card every time we want to trigger and compile effect. So I think it's actually not that good for us. I don't think I want to take Astrolabe here. I think this deck is a bit too precise to go in with transformation now. I'm gonna take the Black Star just because I'm afraid the other two might actually come with some real downsides. Now that we have Black Star, we only have one elite on this floor we can actually hit. So I think we hit the one with the most rest sites, because we still have that barbell. Is it still active? It's still glowing at least. 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just barely active. Maybe we actually skip this one rest sites and go for 4 question marks instead. I like that. It's time to break the emerald. We also need to make sure we can break the sapphire here. We have a couple of chances for that. What's our upgrade now? Infinite Beam isn't bad. Separator is pretty good. Terminator is not critical, but nice to have. I'm gonna go with... Class Default is also not bad. I'm gonna go with Separator though. I'm most worried about the shorter fights, where we have to be pretty quick. I find like this is not a huge problem because it doesn't put a lot of pressure on us. That was the wrong target. Whoops. Put the buggy mess up there. We do have the mutator. I do intend to use that. Want to play the format for 3 fragments so I can class default one of the fragments. Bit shift one of the fragments out there to put a separator up instead. Now it's just a Spiker and myself here in this fight. And we can basically approach that however we want. Yeah, I kind of want to compile that. Didn't even need the full release there. Draw is very good in this deck. I think the explosive potion is also starting to diminish in value. Philosophize could work very well, but we have our way to gain strength already. We don't really need Philosophize. Even though it's faster, we don't need to be fast. Hey Silly! Thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription for the 5th month now. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sure, let's deprecate then early access on the backliner, and then we gain some block. I don't mind playing class default here. We're gonna get 221 block effects up there once we next compile. That at least makes sure we stay defended until we can actually play the full release version of this game. Fight, character, whatever. That might be a few too many statuses right now. And we don't need the block at all. Nor do we need the energy. We already have 81 block. If there's one thing this deck does well, it's blocking. I kind of regret the delay card up there. But we have a couple of bit shifts to remove it if necessary. This is a bit of a problem. I think we have to play the Terminator, otherwise we take massive damage this turn. And then just have 2 fragments up there. We can full release clean fragments, that's okay. This isn't ideal. These voids suck. Now I can't play full release. Otherwise I couldn't couldn't play the power I would create there. Watched Rhapsody's episode today at 2 times speed. The mod has improved a great deal in a short period. Indeed it has. Became so much better, and it was already quite good to start with. This is a little bit of a puzzle we have here. It gets harder and harder to get a good full release going. But it looks like it just won't be necessary. Well, I guess we start trying now. So much block. So much block on all of my cards. I'm glad I have that ladder opener. Fun enough about Cyberpunk 2077. Think we just don't do anything? This is probably one of the slowest decks I've ever played. Let's build some sadness. Well, it's time to finish. Wait, that's not the... strike is enough already. Okay. Blockchain, gain a blur. Yeah, I mean... that's exactly what this deck wants, right? Return kinda, but not enough. Yeah, I'll gladly take this fight. This is one of these fights that we have to play fast. Or that we have to play with a ton of defense. Like a ridiculous amount of defense. And I think we can do that quite well, actually. It's probably the one thing this deck does very, very well. I think we have to block here. We do take some damage, we will heal it up with Mutator, don't worry. Let's casually build a perfection here. Perfection! And I don't think we really want to play any of these. Yeah. Do beta build. I want to bit shift the constructor out of there because I want to keep that around for later. Blockchain the late guard and then play the early chain and the force field. Now we have some blur going as well. It's time for 28 block a turn. And I don't care about these burns. Enemies already attacking for 28 though, so... But on the other hand, we are gaining strength. There we go. Lizard Tail. When you would die, heal to 50% of your max HP instead. Works once. Optimize. I don't think we want that. Nor any of the others. Explore an event. Search a treasury for a relic. Or hunt down the merchant. Planning to go for this merchant. But we might need 2 fights to actually win that. Yeah. Actually, we probably don't. I didn't think they were that low. Gonna bit shift the separator and replay it. Yeah, never mind. We easily have it this turn. Not this turn, I mean this combat. That's what I meant. Sure. It's just speed build functions here. There we go. Nice. Invoke Repulsor Plus and... Ooh, Repulsor Plus is no longer innate, it's now 1 cost. I think that makes it quite a bit better. We don't need it in this deck. We don't need any of these. But I like to see it. Protective Goggles, Prismatic Shard. Nothing really excites me here. Protective Goggles are okay. But we don't really need them at all. I think we should cut more cards. Strike is definitely on the chopping block here. Fight yourself for a rare relic. Okay. Let's fight an Automaton. Nice. Do want that early access compiled right away. Scan that blur. And then put a delay guard up there. Hopefully draw into beta branch soon. Beta build. Gonna save this constructor for later and use a format here. Don't need to play the replicate there. Makes things a bit harder on ourselves if we use it. And now we prepare for the full release. That sucks. I can't play Constructor, Separator, full release this turn because of the Void. Constructor is necessary for defense. Just gonna go with full release. We still have the Terminator in the deck. So we can just go with our Immortality function again. There's the Hyper Beam already though. Uh-oh. Got our Immortality function a turn too late. But it's fine. We can heal damage like that up pretty easily later on. We shouldn't have played the... Oops. I'm getting sloppy here. But that's kind of okay, because... yeah, we won that fight once we got our full release out. Spiked Energy Drink is really bad in this deck. We don't have any card that costs more than 1, except for the Force Shield, I guess. But that reduces its cost naturally. Silver Bullet, I don't even want that, I'll take the Sapphire Key. Silver Bullet lets you start each fight with a piercing shot in your... do I pay for 16 max health compared to this version? I think so. Surprisingly okay for us. We do need to break the Sapphire. We won't have a lot of gold left. Blockchain needs to be upgraded. I want that extra blur on compile. Helps us keep the blur up quite a bit longer. Infinite beams. Casual 18 max HP in 2 floors. Yeah, true. That was pretty nice. Let's bit shift the constructor back and do it again for the full block. Do I even want to draw right now? Not really. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to draw past beta build. Cast default. Let's put the separator in there instead. 23 damage. Play mutator. There we go. Nice, nice. This is working very well. We don't need Immortality in this fight. Saw that burn too late, otherwise I would have played that earlier. And I think we have now enough block to just hit this guy. Just might be the case that we have enough block there. Wild Beam, ship it. The late slice ship it is still a little bit tempting, but I just don't think we need it. Overheat, removing compile errors. We don't even use compile errors with this deck except for deprecate. Yeah. Let's go for another upgrade. I kind of want one of these class defaults to have retain. That makes them a lot more usable. Format is actually nice to have here. $27 is fine, we don't need to play this function at the moment. Yeah, I don't want to accidentally trigger a curse here or anything. Let's go class default on the constructor. And let's start building our blurricade. No beta build yet. Uh-oh. We don't have an attack. Don't want a curse. That was not very well timed there, but it did work out. Give me back the constructor to hold over. Let's get the beta build ready. Beta testing was a success. Let's put up a constructor. Nothing exciting left. I'm gonna go with the go-to as well. Gain 35 block and draw 2 cards each turn. Now the only thing we need to make sure is that we don't run into any curses, and I immediately risked getting a curse there. Let's get the infinite beams out. That will also help. And let's start encoding some replicates. That is fine. Don't need to do anything beyond that. This is gonna be a slow but methodical kill, just to avoid getting any curses in my deck. That is totally fine. And I think we should have the kill now. Explosive potion? Ooh, an upgraded Terminator. Having a second one of these could be helpful sometimes, so I'll take it. I don't think we want any of these cards though. Let's make use of our Black Star. Okay. Sure, let's weaken them. Blockchain is nice here. Giving us AoE weakness and a good chunk of defense. I did just remove my constructors, so I can't make can't really make an immortality function again. But we might not need that. Don't have any way to block here. That sucks. I guess we just have to heal the damage we take. That is fine. What do we even use for full release at this point? Terminate or go to draw 4 cards? That's not even that good. Beta build? I guess that will work. Huh. This is really slow right now. Slow but steady wins the race. At least we're healing up. This is annoying. As long as the status cards remain under control, yeah, that's definitely something we have to worry about at least a little bit here. Because we are generating a lot of them. The minor beam was very questionable right now. Whoops! They switched places, I didn't expect that. At this point, we're just gonna win without full release. Well, I say and then it shows up. But it's not even gonna be that good here. I'm glad the mutator cost 0 this turn. It is very helpful. There we go. We did in fact heal up all the damage. Lantern, very nice. Start each combat with an additional energy. Also Gremlin Horn, quite nice as well. Whenever an enemy dies, gain an energy and draw a card. Chirical Elixir makes the next function you create have no compile error effects and cost 0. That's quite nice. We don't have enough gold to go for that merchant. Let's go for a boss card instead. I'll look at one. Don't really see a huge benefit to looking at multiples. Are any of these really useful to us? I don't think so. Chrono Boost maybe. But we have Mutator, so I'm not sure if that's ever worth playing. The 2 energy cost is a bit of a problem. Early access Terminator. That will work. Casually generating 100 block on turn 1. Give me back that go-to. I want the separator there instead. Let's get that burn out of here. This is the late block. There goes the beta build. But I don't think we need it right now. We're on a pretty aggressive path at the moment. Okay, this is gonna be quite weird. No, it isn't, because... No! This can still be... something. Mutate that void out, sure. Weird strength generation engine we have going on here. Don't want to play the other one. There we go. Nope, none of these. Fine-tuning. Still not really what we do. Although on blockchain, it's upgraded. It does have retain, so we can probably get it to work on blockchain. This is not a bad starting hand. Has to be the perfection, right? Maybe I should have optimized this differently though. I regret my decision. Yeah, that... I think we have to go for the invincibility against this enemy. This fight is gonna go for way too long. We can't burst them down. That was just a stupid decision right there. Mutator gives us a strength every time we play, but it also gives the enemy a focus, because whenever we play a rare, they will gain a focus. There's our class default. It's very important. Let's draw. Let's pitch shift this back into our hand. That's a lot of retain. Ouch. I have to play this slow. Need to get to my beta build, and there we are. Have a very precise plan of what to do here. "35 blocks should be enough. Separator, we can do that. We could do that. Incoming is 16 plus 18. I want the blockchain up there. It's also the fine-tuning is totally unnecessary. Okay, that was really bad. The order on that was quite bad, but luckily we have the alchemical elixir, so this is gonna be a zero cost function. Now we gain 43 block and 2 blur at the start of each turn. Although this turn will take some damage, but after that we're gonna be truly invincible. Nothing is gonna ever stop us. Just put one fragment up there and then add a Terminator. This is the true in Immortality function there. Barricade and insane amounts of block at the same time. I don't care about your 10 focus. Although our damage is still lacking, that's why we need the mutators to go out. But with the amount of functions we are compiling, the small multi-hit functions and the strength we gain from mutator, I don't think there's any question who's gonna win this fight. These statuses are actually important, they fuel our strength. So we can eventually get through the enemy's huge block turns with these frost orbs. Well, giving the enemy focus also makes them harder to kill because they use frost orbs, so that's somewhat annoying. But we scale better with strength than the enemy does with focus, I believe. Probably should have played a couple mutators there. Not sure. I think it's now about the time where dealing the damage is better than scaling the damage. $869 block. Should have played this first, obviously, but it doesn't really matter. But still not at full health. Minor scratch, copying, scratch, copy, copy. heal another 2 health, and then kill the enemy. Yep! This is pretty awesome. Stack can do some interesting things with full release. The merchant. I like the go-to actually. Oh, class default. Sure. Let's try to draw into the beta function. Didn't get it. That's fine. We had a good setup turn. Mutator at 0. This is a good card draw opportunity for us. Let's put that one up there. I want my constructor back now. I also want the delayed guard for next turn. Delayed block. Let's put constructor up there. Just for the huge amount of block we need to defuse the bomb. I think we bitch if this again. Replay it and then class default. Now is the time for the beta build. We do want to compile that right away, right? Incoming damage this turn is very low, so I'm not worried. Oh, actually, something else hit us there. Huh. This is a huge block and some card draw. Didn't draw into the full release yet. We do block all the damage here, but next turn might be more difficult. We do have that build alpha, that helps at least. Let's go blockchain fine tuning, full release. While, yeah, it doesn't defend us on this turn. But you know what? Oh, there we go. That will do. Nice. Okay. So we are at full health and gaining 50 block a turn, so these bombs are no longer scary at all. And we can just start to go nuts on the enemy here. Start building up strength so we actually deal any damage. And then generate some nice multi-hits that scale well with the strength. And we gain from our mutators. This is build your own barricade automaton. Build your own barricade that also gives you 50 block each turn. Very, very nice. I'm really happy that I finally got a full release. Alpha build, beta beta version full release deck to work. I always wanted to make that happen because it seemed like such a cool concept. And it was pretty hard to work with the 2-3 costs of these cards before. But now that they're all 1 cost, this is much more accessible. There we go. Bottle Tornado. Oh, that's really good. I like that. Kunai, every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, gain 1 dex. Spiked Energy Drink, sure. Better than not having it, I guess. And Bottle Tornado on the class default. So we can always have the class default on the Constructor on the first turn. In all of our upcoming 2 fights. Still, Chaos doesn't work very well in this deck. Nothing here really excites me that much. Card removal on another strike. Yeah. Our final upgrade is gonna be on Infinite Beams. No, that's just 1 damage per minor beam. That's basically like 1 strength. Let's make this Terminator free. There we go, against Niao's champions. Starting with the Watcher. I think we just use the Watcher to set up our invincibility. Yeah, it's certainly a deck that takes a while to get going, but yeah, once it's online, nothing can stop it. Oh, it's an early beta build. Let's compile this immediately. This means we are guaranteed to get the full release in our first cycle. Always nice when that happens. And there it is. Even with blockchain in hand. Why do I even fine-tune the blockchain? It's just 28 block this time around. Each turn. But honestly, that's all we need. That's literally all we need. I'm upgrading this because we also gain a block every turn, so kinda matters a little bit. And we don't compile that yet because we can play it right away. Yeah, I think this fight is now pretty much solved now that we have our Immortality online. This is not a bad function to use the Terminator on. Let's keep the class default around. I think I want to use that on a fragment from the format. It's probably the most useful one. Too bad Mutator doesn't work on curses and it's now ethereal. But it has retain, it won't burn out. The only thing that will burn out is the Terminator. I guess we just put it in there. That's fine. Format for 2 and then class default. We keep mutating. Again, I don't want to compile right now. Soon we'll play all these minor beams out, no problem. That's probably where the go-to wants to be. This is still the first opponent. Still up against the Watcher. They finally entered. Wrath here. We're gaining a couple of dex points with the kunai there. Oh! Killing the mirror image triggers the Gremlin Horn. Gremlin Horn OP against this enemy. I see, I see. Yeah, I think this first fight is going pretty well. Let's transform all these bad statuses into good strength. Finally, the defect. We played most of our rare cards already. Final boss defect is usually not that threatening. But I mean, sometimes these rare cards don't exhaust or aren't powers, and then the ability still matters. Mutator, for example. But like with 610 block, that doesn't go away ever. I think we don't have to worry about much. Just throw random functions at them until they die. There we go. Now the reset. Now we have to set up again for Niao. Drink the strength potion immediately. Do like the Terminator here. Nice bit shift. So, against 2 strength for every rare card you play. First attack used each turn against Niao deals 0 damage, and at the end of the round, if Niao is at or below 50% HP, she gains 6 strength. Can only trigger once per combat. The Unbridled Rage doesn't seem that bad. Well, I guess you can't avoid it. Because of the Invincible, you always have a turn where she attacks while below 50% HP, so... Let's set up this Constructor. And class defaulted. The Terminator here. We're adding quite a few status cards. I don't want to use the Vexing Rod yet. It has to wait for later. Yeah, turns like these are gonna be a bit of a problem. But we do have a lot of block and healing in the deck. That's important. I think we format into class default. $30 block and then 7 block. That's full defense. That's all we need right now. Let's bit shift the Constructor out of there and put in a Separator instead. Let's deprecate and then play the function. We don't have Blur yet, but this does trigger 5 damage. That's the beta build at a good time. Let's get ready for the full release. Do want that beta build. And afterwards we need infinite beams as well, so let's set that up right now. Good thing we had that blur. We can give her 2 more strength without much of a problem. But we can't really play any of these. Yeah, we have that slow setup time, but it's worth it. It's all worth it in the end. Bewildered full release, then play the released build chain. 35 block each turn and a blur, that has to be enough. I should have used the fine tuning actually. Kind of have to use it now because of the flood. Actually, that didn't help. Now we lose our mutator. That's a bit of a problem. Because now we can no longer deal with the statuses. And Niao is actually capable of outscaling our block engine. I shouldn't be shuffling more statuses into the deck. That might be my downfall. Hey Mace 120, welcome, thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Yeah, without the mutator we might be screwed. No, yeah, I think we need to keep that mutator around. We can't afford to lose it. Let's also see if the save bug on Niao got fixed. Welcome, Mace. Welcome, Lagox. Okay, let's try this for real. We can't afford to lose anything there. Do we keep the Terminator? I think we do, yeah. Okay, let's improve the Constructor. Good early start. I forgot the Strength Potion. Whew. Yeah, this is STS Downfall. Complete overhaul mod where you can play as the bosses and fight against the champion, and instead of the heart, as the optional Act 4 boss, you fight against Niao. Do I want a defense here? Yeah, I think so, and then we class default. Let's class default the Constructor. Keep the fine-tuning around for now. Although maybe I should have used it there. Separator. We definitely burn out the Flawed. That's what screwed us over last time we tried. I'm fine with formatting here. Thanks, Mace. Haunted again. I don't think that's a huge problem. We have one more class default. So I think we fine-tune now. Deprecate, then a bit shift the Constructor out of there. And I think it's time to get ready for... No, it's just beta. So we have to keep going there. Infinite beams? Let's go with beta build for sure. That has to be played. I guess we just take the 23 right now. Mutate the Slimed. Giving the enemy more strength. I think it's too early to give the enemy strength. I'll just play out the Slimed. Let's play the Bewildered. We can't afford muddling. And it's Minor Beam. And I think now we can start thinking about mutating the Slimed out. Gaining strength while we do so. There's the full release. What else goes with it? Is there a Terminator left? There isn't. It's the blockchain, of course. Start of your turn, gain 42 block. Let's get these wounds out of the deck. And then we pass. Keep the bit shift around for later. Don't think it's gonna be very useful, the bit shift I mean. Now we have to survive until we draw the until we draw the missing card. Blockchain. We can't play these wild beams either. Oh, give me blockchain already. Well, next turn is gonna be fine. If we get it by then everything's a-okay. Finally found the blockchain. So now we have a power that says at the start of your turn gain 42 block and gain a blur. That will make things a lot easier. English breakfast on a pizza? How would that even look like? That sounds pretty wild. 120. That's a problem. Currently we are taking 66 damage. We survive 66 damage. And this hint we can almost certainly block. And now that we have infinite blur, we should be able to actually build up enough block to deal with Niao's 38 strength. This does nothing anymore. Yeah, and these cards, we also have 8 decks, so these cards are generating a large amount of block as well. I'd rather play the slime than give Niao even more strength right now. But I think we finally got to the point where we are actually safe against Niao's crazy big hits. Sure, it should be fine to post a link in the chat. So if you want to share your English breakfast pizza with everyone, feel free to do so. Hit for 72, that's nothing. And I think we should be able to kill before he goes for another big attack. Let's gain another strength, give him another 2 strength. 56 strength on Yao, sure. No big deal. There we go. The Immortality function did it again. That was a fun build. Really liked the power of full release we got there. And we should get the final unlocks now. Bronze Idol. Status cards may now be played for useful effects. That seems outright broken in this class. Then we have Deka's Washers. At the start of each combat, draw 3 additional cards and add a Dazed into your draw pile. Pretty solid. You're getting 3 additional draws in the first turn. Then you lose 1 draw later on. That's fair. Donu's Washers. At the start of combat, gain 2 energy and add a Void into your draw pile. This one I'm not so sure about. You lose a draw and an energy later. Still potentially strong if you have some good innate cards or like a strong early turn with bottles or anything that you can really make good use of these energy points. That would work quite nicely. But yeah, we managed once again to slay everyone and let the cycle die. So let me take a look. This pizza looks not too great. Yeah, that was fun. We really made good use of not just early access and the follow-ups, but also bit shift. I haven't used bit shift like that before with the constructor. Very, very nice deck. Anyways, this is gonna be the end for me. No, not the end for me. The end for my stream for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the run. Sorry, Raiders, you came right at the end there. But at least you saw this sick Immortality function deck in action.